most important thing you could do before you spend $1 in advertising is to go through the customer experience as the customer. Let's just say it's a website, for example. When a customer goes to your website, immediately they should be met with a clear value proposition and understanding of what your business or service does. That's the first thing. It should be absolutely clear. You shouldn't expect them to think at all like they're going to be on your website for seconds. How you want to do that is you want to take the unique selling proposition of the business you created, and hopefully you found some white space and a gap in there. So then explain very quickly what it is that you're selling. So for example, we have this product called Easy Man. It's a hemp derived microdose THC beverage. If you go to drinkeasyman.com, right above the fold, it says very clearly, we are a microdose craft beverage that drinks like a beer. So you know what the product is right away. So that's number one. Then you want to get into what problem are you trying to solve for that consumer? People purchase products and services because it's solving a need or solving a desire. And it could be like something simple as like, you need to purchase services of a plumber because you want a working toilet, like as a weird example, but
Right.
like that's the thing. But if you go to the website and it's very confusing and you don't know how to like book an appointment, or anything like that, would be a complete waste of time to drive advertising dollars there. More times than not, I see people with these good ideas that have done a good job executing, but they're missing this component of tying what the product or service is to make it very easy for the consumer to understand.
So it's about that buying experience that you think a lot of entrepreneurs are missing in particular.
Yeah, it is the customer's first impression of that business. How can it be succinctly communicated what that business does? Just look at and audit websites. There are more websites than not that have a lot of issues with this, and you don't really know exactly what the website is selling or what service they're offering. That needs to go above the fold. Why? 70 to 80% of your consumers will not scroll down. So you could fill it with all the amazing text in the world. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. If you're not succinct, it doesn't matter. As you scroll down, talk about the problem you're solving for that consumer. So for Easy Man, to use that example, we're solving a problem of like being able to chill out. Like Go Brewing is a brand that's like, go, go, go. And that's a lot of my life. But then there's a part of me that's like, I just need to chill at night. I need to shut my brain off. It's healthy to shut down. A lot of people struggle with this because they have family obligations. They're working all day. They're just grinding, especially entrepreneurs. We all just need to like take a step back and relax. So that's the problem that this beverage is solving.
Are there like tips that you have in terms of how narrow a focus you should have on the problem you're solving, solution you're giving, versus there might be a number of different reasons why people are coming to me? Like, how many personas are you aiming at?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think when you start, you should aim for one persona. As you get going and you get rocking your advertising, you can create landing pages to connect with different personas. So when I built Go, we did an analysis, and it's kind of funny actually. And we were thinking about who is the target customer. And you got to think about it as like, you want to talk to one person. Who is that one person? Well, when we were just, we were coming up with who that person is for Go, I literally like gave the exact demographics, psychographics, and attributes as myself. I'm like this 40-year-old-ish that drives a truck and has a family, just wants to cut down on drinking, wants to be healthier, wants to be around for his kids, wants to be more present. And they're like, yeah, that's you. Initially, when we first created Go, it wasn't to abstain from alcohol. So we weren't looking for the sober community. Like it was a great benefit to find that community. And that's what happens too. Over time, your personas can shift and merge, and you could find a product market fit that may not be what your intention was. So for Go, it was like, okay, how am I going to appeal to, in this case, me? And we designed kind of the website experience around that. You got to think about like, what kind of brand do I want to have? Like, what feeling do I want someone to get when they go to my brand or when they go to the website or when they go to the store? Like, it's all about the feeling. So take a step back and say, like, what do you want someone to feel?
Is there one thing in particular that you always recommend in terms of the design of the website? I'm talking about the aesthetics, the content, and all that, and not so much call it like the technological infrastructure that can make the biggest difference from a performance standpoint. Performance leading towards sales ultimately.
The number one thing you should do is have a clear value proposition on the homepage. You should have one main goal, not 20 buttons. Your main goal on the homepage is X. For us, it is to get people to look at the beers. That's the homepage goal. We want you to click into the beers and we want you to see if they're for you. Now, there's a secondary call to action, and sometimes I think this is important. We have so many beers. What if you get to the website and you're like, I don't know what I want. What's good? So we have a quiz, and the quiz is a lead capture
Oh,
as well. So we got these two things playing because a lot of people are trying non-alcoholic beer for the first time. So you have to look at your industry and say, okay, if I have a lot of SKUs and a complex product, like maybe I could guide someone to a path, but the benefit is I get their email, I get their information, I give them the results, and they get a discount.
yeah.
So that to me is critical. But you should always lead with your bigger, bolder button for the main action you want them to take. From there, wherever that leads them, every page should have one main action. Sometimes, not all the time, should have a secondary main action. So if you're on our results page that shows all the beers that we have, the main call to action is like add it to your cart or click on the detail of that product to learn more, then add it to your cart. Like that's the only goal. Like we're not sending people off to like, go look at our Instagram. I see that all the time. And it like drives me crazy because you're spending you're spending money on Instagram to get people to your website to send them back to Instagram. Like
Right.
it doesn't make sense. You don't need to create nowadays like a 50-page website to start. It could literally be one page with, if you're selling e-com, one page with results and then a detail page. I do think About Us page is important because it does have a connection with the consumer. Those things I think are optimal. And that's what a lot of people miss. They go straight to advertising and they're missing that kind of connection.
Okay, so that seems to kind of speak to like really aligning yourself to the expectations of the customer when they're showing up to where you're at.
What I want people to take away is not only making sure that the destination where you're going to send future ads to, or let's imagine like you have a press release going out and everyone in the world is going to your website. And then they get to your website. What is that experience going to be like? Let's say you have a restaurant. What's that experience going to be? How are you going to make them feel? You know this very well. You go in some restaurants, you have this warm feeling, and you go in others and you don't. And it's like invites you to come back or not. And it's the same thing with digital properties and with brick and mortar. So that is often overlooked. And what that does in the long term is it increases your acquisition costs substantially. And that's why I don't want people spending money on advertising until they think about that. And to think about it, I'll just jump right to it. You got to test. You have to test. You have to go through it as the consumer, but also find others in your universe that can test for you, and then find people that aren't your friends and get critical feedback and then make changes accordingly because nothing's going to be perfect when you launch. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to have structure so you're not wasting your money.
What's your pro tip in terms of how to test that?
I did something that I still think works really well. We built this tool at my last software company. It was for consumers to be able to purchase a vehicle online. I had one main call to action. I put the iPad in front of my daughter, who was 5 years old at the time. She scrolled down and I wanted to see what she clicked on, and she ended up clicking on the button I wanted her to. And that was my only ask of her. So if a child can do it at that age, your UX is good.
Yeah.
And you have to build the lowest common denominator of where you don't need to be super smart or clever. You could do that in the media and the ads and all that. And that's where you could do a lot of cool testing. But when somebody gets to your website, it should be the simplest thing, lowest friction, easy checkout, page speed, all that stuff works. So it's making sure you have your unique selling proposition, making sure you're tapping into the problems of the persona, the ideal persona that you're going after, making sure that the experience is good and you have these building blocks. If someone is listening to this and they're really trying to dig in and they want like a blueprint for it, I recommend Donald Miller, Building a Story Brands. He does a great job explaining this in very simple ways, and he's someone to follow too. I have recommended his book more than almost any author just because of these conversations.
You built websites for a living, right? So for you to say, I've got this company that sells online, having a website's really important. You know how to do it. If I'm an entrepreneur and I don't know how to build websites, what are the questions I need to be asking to somebody who might be building a website to make sure they're delivering on kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, it is a good question because there's a lot of developers that are really good at code, but they're not good at UX. So it is getting things in a wireframe before you do any coding. You're not testing everything initially through coding because that could be expensive. Like if you don't know what you're doing and you're hiring this out and you're contracting it, get wireframes. People usually put them in Figma or these other tools, look at them, share those around with people. When we launched, we had the website thing. I was very confident there, but I didn't know anything about packaging. So what I did is I took the designs, printed them on paper, cut them out, taped them around a support can, went to the store, and I was putting them next to everything else to say, like, are these differentiated enough? And that's how I went about it. You just have to like think about it from a pragmatic standpoint and want to get in a relationship with a contractor who knows UX, or if they admit they don't, which again, some don't, I would maybe either look elsewhere or get a designer to help you. Look at Donald Miller's book. I think those two things would be a really good place to start.